Welcome to the Overflow Worship Podcast, where we serve and support leaders so you can serve and support your local church.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Overflow Worship Podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Olson. I'm so glad that you tuned in today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you all survived Thanksgiving and had a great time with family, with friends, whatever that looked like for you. I hope that it was a sweet time of fellowship. And now here we are, guys, it's December. And that's kind of crazy. It's hard for me to believe. I feel like 2022 has been jam-packed with so many things for me personally and for the ministry of Overflow Worship, but it's gone by really fast. And I know that as the years go by, pretty much everybody says that every year, but it really did feel like this year went by super fast. But I'm grateful. I'm really, really grateful for everything that the Lord has done and just the ways that He continues to walk with our family and just guide us through every step of the way. I'm just really grateful. So coming out of Thanksgiving and coming into the holiday season, maybe you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Maybe you're feeling a little bit like you've got a lot on your plate, which if you're a worship leader or a pastor, you absolutely do. There's a lot of expectation for just a lot of production, a lot of events, a lot of extra services, a lot of extra dinners and brunches and all of those things that are wonderful. But the expectation is high, and worship leaders, pastors, those in ministry can sometimes approach December with dread because of that, honestly. And, this year with Christmas Day falling on a Sunday, it does add a different and new level of complexity, different conversations to be had. And so I just wanted to take this episode today to share with you a little bit of encouragement about slowing down and making sure that you press pause in this season. And if you've been a podcast listener for a while, you know that this is kind of my mantra. This is something that I talk about a lot. It's something that I'm passionate about. And guess what? I don't get it perfect all the time. So I feel like I'm preaching to myself, to be completely honest with you. I've been just reassessing and looking back on this year and talking with some different people. And a lot of people have said, wow, you have had a lot going on this year. How did you manage that? And honestly, I don't think that I managed all of it all as well as it looks from the outside. But I also know that the parts that we did manage well, it's because of the grace of God and because we knew that there's an end date. My husband and I have this thing where when we're in a sprint season, we know that it can only be for a season and there has to be an end date on it. And we really do have to say, this is the day. Like, this is the end date. This is when we're going to say that, this sprint is done. And because otherwise it just feels like a hamster wheel of never ending stress and never ending busy and exhaustion. And that's how we get to burnout, even, not just in ministry, but in life in general. And so anyways, I've been reflecting on this year and, something that I have talked about over and over and over again with worship leaders, with pastors, with friends, with family, is this whole concept of making sure that we take time to slow down and pause. And, honestly, I feel like this is a timely message for me as I am actually coming to that end date, because my tendency is that, okay, we had this end date and now all of the really busy things that we had on the calendar from ministry to personal, they're winding down and we're celebrating that. But my tendency is to say, all right, let's go. Here we go. We're going to ramp up and we're going to barrel forward and hit the next year head on. And that doesn't mean that we don't have goals and that we don't pursue them with passion. However, my tendency is to skip over the pause. And I feel like I need a good month of pause, to be completely honest with you. And so I'm excited for the month of December to take more time to do that. And it's not that Overflow Worship is closing down shop for the month of December or anything like that, but just me personally, internally, making sure that I'm taking time in the evenings and the mornings and just trying to simplify, because if I don't, I know that I will get on the path to burnout, but I also know that I can't bring my best to all the areas of life that I need to show up in. I don't bring my best self to my kids. I don't bring my best self to my husband, and I don't bring my best self to my staff and to the ministry that God has called me to. So that is me being totally honest with you and wanting to invite you into this time of pausing and this time of rest with me. So why would I say this in the busiest season of the year? You're probably like, Andrea, are you nuts? There's no way. There is absolutely no way that I can slow down in December. And my challenge to you is, why not? Think about it. You can find 30 minutes. You can find, pockets of time here or there. I'm not saying that you're, on sabbatical in December, but you can find pockets of time where the purpose is simply to be in the presence of God. It's simply to let your mind stop racing and to slow it down and to just be in God's presence and say, God, I'm here. I am here. I just want to be with you. I don't have anything to say. I'm not asking you for anything. If you have anything to say to me, I'm here to listen. I'm just here. And it is amazing to me. And if you've been with me for a while, you know, I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but it's amazing to me how God is so faithful to show up in those times. And, I've been reading this book. We're going to link it in the show notes, but I've been reading this book called Adore by Sarah Haggerty. It is kind of a hybrid book/devotional. So the first section of it is a little bit about her and her story and just kind of setting the stage for this concept of adoration. And then the devotional is 30 different devotionals of adoration. And basically what she says is, she says to invite God into these moments, into these deep parts of our soul and adore him through those. And so maybe for you, it's taking something like that and allowing that to kind of set the stage. You read a little bit of it and then you just sit and you soak on it. And that's what I've been doing lately for the last, 6 weeks or 2 months or something like that, using that to set the stage for me in my time of just being and listening. And it's really hard actually to get my mind to stop racing, but there is so much revelation and so much ministry from the Lord to my heart that happens when I just say, I'm here. I don't want to do anything else but be here in your presence. And so I want to keep this short and sweet because I know that you're busy and maybe you can take the extra, 20 minutes that you were planning to take listening to this episode and go and be in his presence. This last summer, if you didn't know this, in July, I released an album. I have not released an album since 2014. I've released singles over the last few years, but not an album. And so I was so excited to share this with the world. It's called This Good. And the purpose of this album is from start to finish to give you an opportunity to pause in his presence. And so the album, each song has an underlying theme of celebrating his goodness, but each one takes you through just a journey of worship. There's adoration, there's celebration, there's praise, there's supplication where we ask, and there's openness and vulnerability where we come to the Lord with our concerns and our hurts. There's all of the songs kind of take you on this journey of worship. And my hope and prayer is that you would be able to sit and just be in his presence as you listen. So if you need a tool or a catalyst to help you, you can head to any streaming platform and just type in Andrea Olson, This Good, and you'll find the album. The last song is actually an instrumental, and I loved putting this together. So McKendry Tucker produced that song, and he is an incredible string arranger and composer. And we worked together on that song. And I told him, I said, I just want it to be like a bookend to this time of, 25 minutes that you've had with the Lord where you've just listened through this music. And then you get this bookend of like a breath, a sigh. And then at the end, you feel like, okay, I can go forth into my day now. And you feel encouraged and uplifted and empowered to go forward. And so I hope and pray that it's an encouragement to you. It's a blessing to you. And also, if you're looking for another resource, I did write a devotional around the song Good Shepherd that's on that album. And you can find it on the YouVersion app. We'll link that in the show notes as well. But if you just head to YouVersion, type in Andrea Olson, Good Shepherd, it will pop up. And I just wanted to provide some tools for you to actually practice being in the presence of God and practice pausing in his presence. So whether you listen to the music, you read the devotional, or you do both, just sit, just pause and be in his presence. And I guarantee you that you'll be amazed every single time at how he ministers to your soul in the way that you need. In Lamentations 3, it talks about how his mercies are new every morning. And I think that the beautiful thing about that is that it's not like this concept of, they're new as in brand new. Yes, that's true, but they are brand new because their mercies tailored for that day. And I just think that is such an incredible way that God shows us his goodness. Like he has gone before us into the day. And so he has handcrafted mercies that we need for that day that we don't even know we need. And so maybe that's a question you can ask the Lord when you're in this time of pausing, of saying, I am here, I'm listening. Show me your mercies for today. And just let him speak to you. Let him move in your heart. And so I just wanted to leave you with that. So there's resources in the show notes. I just hope that it's an encouragement to you. So as I wrap up this short little mini episode, and before you go on your way and spend time pausing in his presence, I'm going to read Psalm 23 over you from the Passion Translation. Yahweh is my best friend and my shepherd. I always have more than enough. He offers a resting place for me in his luxurious love. His tracks take me to an oasis of peace near the quiet brook of bliss. That's where he restores and revives my life. He opens before me the right path and leads me along in his footsteps of righteousness so that I can bring honor to his name. Even when your path takes me through the valley of deepest darkness, fear will never conquer me, for you already have. Your authority is my strength and my peace. The comfort of your love takes away my fear. I'll never be lonely, for you are near. You become my delicious feast even when my enemies dare to fight. You anoint me with the fragrance of your Holy Spirit. You give me all I can drink of you until my cup overflows. So why would I fear the future? Only goodness and tender love pursue me all the days of my life. Then afterward, when my life is through, I'll return to your glorious presence to be with you forever. So as you go into the rest of this holiday season, I pray that you take the time to pause in his presence daily so that you are refilled to the overflowing to tackle all that's ahead of you. And just know that everyone here at Overflow Worship, we're cheering for you. We're praying for you. We are on your team. If you ever need anything, reach out to us. We always love hearing from you. And until next time, be blessed.
You've been listening to the Overflow Worship Podcast. If you enjoy our podcast, please take a moment and leave us a 5-star rating and a written review, which helps us reach more people. New episodes are released every other Monday. So until next time, thank you for listening.